So after what essentially was a really good season for us, I now have the big challenge of trying to do much better in the upcoming season. So we'll be trying to bring in a few new fresh faces. One or two players will be leaving, and I think essentially it'll be quite an interesting summer. Anyway, I'm back off my holidays. I just thought it'd be quite prudent to have a quick look at what Exeter did and Chorley. So Exeter actually finished 11th in the league. When I left them in January, they were in the playoff positions, and they didn't seem to be able to hold on to that. I don't know whether that's lack of my stewardship, I'm not quite sure, but they finished 11th. Chorley, however, are actually in the playoffs. They finished third in the Vanarama North, so they're in the playoffs. So they've kind of built on, hopefully, the foundations that I put in place there. Anyway, so let's get down to business. So towards the end of last season, the Premier League clubs released their youth players that didn't come up to scratch for them. And there was about 12 in there, had a look through them, made an offer for a few, approached to sign them, and we ended up with 3. So we've got Alan Keith, he's a 17-year-old attacking midfielder, Jordan Sarfo, an 18-year-old midfielder, and Peter Roberts, an 18-year-old midfielder. So they will all come in, go in the under-18s, under-23s, and all got great prospects for the future. And you'll also notice on there as well a Miguel Aziz, a 23-year-old midfielder. So I put an offer in for him quite early doors really, and he's just joined us on the 9th of June. He's not going to play every game, he's not going to be a first choice starter, but he is reasonably good creative force in midfield. As we've seen before, the schedule is off the scale sometimes, so you do need quite a lot of rotation. So I think he will be a good player for, as you can see, you know, his stats, he's quite a good creative player, so he will get game time. So we're bobbing on now towards the end of June. The fixtures have been released for the season, so we're playing Hull, Burton and Sunderland will be our first 3 games of the season. Along with that, the media, as per usual, make their predictions, and as you can see, they're predicting us at 25-1 to finish 14th. 14th? I don't think so. We have no players in the media dream 11 at all. I've had a quick look at the teams that have come down, you know, the likes of Crystal Palace who've come down out of the Premier League, and they have got a half decent squad. It's going to be a tough season. So as you can imagine, with £250,000 to spend, transfers have been really difficult. Most players that have been offered to me are anything from 2-3 million up to 10-15 million, and we just can't afford that. So it's the 1st of July. I've been looking at 3 transfers, and the first one I picked up has come from Manchester City, so fairly decent pedigree, and that is Josh Adam, 22-year-old attacking midfielder, another midfielder. Can you see a bit of a trend here? You can't have enough midfielders. And also coming in from Sevilla is Pablo Perez. He can play anywhere down the left-hand side, so if I wanted a winger on that side, he can play there, but he's also got terrific stats for playing wing back and bombing up and down that. You know, I like my wing backs. So Josh Adam, he's right-footed, he can play inverted winger. We'll talk about tactics a little later on because I think I am having a little change in my tactics. But he can play inverted winger, can also play attacking midfielder and striker as well, and in the centre of mid if I need to. So he's quite a versatile player. Then Pablo Perez, like I say, left-footed, can play all those positions up and down that left-hand side. He's got great pace and acceleration. Marking and tackling, not so much, but I want him to be a wing-back, so he's going to be up and down. Also, he can play as a winger on that side if I need him to. And then, yes, another midfielder, Luke Dreyer, 27-year-old, gives us a little bit more flexibility in midfield. The board have had a bit of a go at me about signing too many midfield players, but you can't have enough midfield players. Well, I don't think you can anyway. So, a little something I need to tell you about. We all remember 𝐅𝐸𝐺, don't we, from last season? Scored 15 goals, leading goal scorer. I mean, 15 in the grand shape of things. I think I said it at the time. It's not overly amazing, but he was leading goal scorer. He knew where to put the ball in the back of the net. And, you know, he was really good for us. The problem was he was 30-year-old. He came to me, knocked on my door, and he said, look, Gaffer, I've played really well this season. Want some recognition? I want a new contract. He was on £9,500 a week. So I said, well, okay, that's fine. You know, maybe give him a 1 or 2 year contract on maybe 12,000 a week. No, he wanted £24,500 a week on a 3-year contract. So there's a few issues there. One is that he would have been 33 by the time his contract was up. I'm looking to get in the Premier League. Would he have been good enough to play in the Premier League? Probably not. So I would have had a player earning £24,000 a week sat on the bench every week and not be able to get rid of him. The other big problem was that the board wouldn't let me pay £24,500 a week in wages. They have a ceiling. They wouldn't let me pay it. So my hands were tied really from quite a few different directions. So I made the difficult decision to move him on. And I put him on the market, no interest, dropped him, and eventually somebody came in for him, got 4 million for him, which for Preston North End, you know, he's quite decent money. I think with the 70% retention, I think I ended up with about 2.5 million, something like that, to spend, which I have done. So as you can see, I've been out and signed 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐸, 22-year-old young striker. It's coming in 2.5 star with potential to be 4. And they're saying a leading 𝐬𝐫𝐽 championship player. So I think you can see at 22, he's got a lot of space to grow. He's got 14 for finishing, and pace and acceleration are not too bad. He's got 16 for determination, which I always like in a player, like them to be determined. Every player you sign is a gamble. Hopefully he'll hit the ground running. We'll have to see. So I can hear you saying, what? Not a midfielder? No, he's a central defender, this one. Another little problem we had in defence, we didn't really have an awful lot of cover for central defence. Bauer is 33, captain, had been a great servant for us. And I did have maybe designs on letting him go at the end of his contract, which was up in the end of June. My assistant manager brought to my attention that he had a 1-year extension clause. So I triggered that clause to keep him here for another year, and I thought maybe he'll be a good backup at the very least. But we were certainly light in that area. So I've dipped into the loan market. I've gone to West Ham and I've brought in Christian Dalmura, 24-year-old centre-back. He's a 3-star with the potential to be 4. I think he's definitely going to be a regular starter for us. Left-footed, which is great. So we've got a left-footed centre-back now. He's 6'1". He's got a heading of 15. Look at his physicals. Physicals look amazing. Marking, tackling. I think he's definitely going to be a regular starter for us. Still a bit concerned about our lack of depth at centre-back. So I've been back to West Ham again. They've got a great academy there, particularly for centre-backs. So I brought another centre-back from West Ham on loan, 19-year-old Christian 𝐵REEC. This lad looks to have great prospects, and I think he will be a regular starter for us as well. Big lad as well, 6'4", 13.5 stone. Physicals look absolutely brilliant. So it's looking like, courtesy of West Ham, we have our centre-back pairing for the season, hopefully. So the goalkeeping department, bit of a difficult decision this one. Came into the club thinking we need a keeper, a first choice keeper. And then Pears played out of his skin. I mean, some of his performances last season were absolutely amazing. His backup, however, not so great. Board didn't really rate him, neither did the coaching staff. So his contract was out at the end of June. I let him go. Had to bring another backup keeper in. Not quite sure whether he will be a backup, this lad, because he looked okay. I brought him in on loan from Hearts. They have said they want him to be first choice keeper. We'll have to see how that goes. But it's Ryan Pardo Roques. I think that's how you say his name. He looks to be a half decent keeper. Again, we'll have to see how he goes. So back up to the other end of the pitch now, and with 𝐴𝐾𝐵 now gone, I thought we need a little bit more strength in depth there. So I've actually paid some money out for this lad. Nishan Burkhardt, German striker. He was at United for a period earlier on in his career, but then he spent most of his time in his homeland in Germany. So I brought him in for about $500,000, I think it is. Now again, I'm expecting quite a lot from this lad. He's only 5'9", but look at his physicals. He's got a pace of 16, acceleration of 17. His physicals look amazing. So I'm hoping he's going to be that nippy striker that we need to just nip in and out, bang the ball in the back of the net. Again, we shall see. So with a slight change of tactics, which we'll talk about in a minute, I've raided West Ham again. Actually paid some money for this lad, 800,000. Amadou Diallo. He's either footed, which is great, and he can play anywhere across the front, which again is invaluable. And he's got great acceleration, and you can't beat quick players. So I think that's probably the end of my transfer business. One or two of the fringe players have left. We've already spoken about 𝐅𝐵𝐺. He went, but one or two of the fringe players went as well. So I've filled up most of the gaps now. I've got a team that I think I'm fairly comfortable with. The other thing I have been doing is beefing up the staff behind the scenes. And as you can see now, coaching staff wise, we're actually number one in the Championship now. We have the best coaching staff of any team in the Championship. My recruitment staff are not looking too bad either. I have asked for another scout and they've given me one, but there's not too much on the market at the moment. We have got a little problem in where the board won't allow me to scout the world. They'll only allow me to scout Europe. So I'm maybe hanging on to see if I can bring somebody in where we can start scouting South America. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with that. Again, if we look at the bar chart, you know, we're quite high up. We're second or third in the division for scouting. Medical team probably needs a little bit of work, but at the moment they won't let me have any more physios, etc. So I've spoken a little bit about tactics. I think I did try a little bit towards the end of last season. I'm going to try a little bit of a newer tactic this time out. Struggling to find attacking midfield players who are effective. But if you remember, I did try playing 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 as the inverted winger, and he did create a lot of goals. In fact, I think he did score an absolute stunner, if I remember rightly. The inverted winger, where obviously they're playing on the opposite side, so where the left footer would play on the right side and cut inside, and the opposite on the other wing, seemed to work quite well for us. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a try. I have been a little bit stuck in my ways with my formations, etc. But, you know, we're all here to learn, aren't we? So I am going to give that a try, at least for the first few games, and see how that works out. So I've got 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 on one side. On the other side, I've got Perez, Diallo, and the young lad Marsh. If you remember, Diallo is either footed, so he can play on either side, which is really handy. So I think with my transfer business virtually done now, I nip back to have a look at the media prediction, and we haven't moved. So the media are not impressed with my signings at all. So they're thinking we're going to finish about 13th or 14th, 25-1. I mean, that's not great, is it really? Let's show them a thing or two, shall we? Well, it's the 8th of August. That went quick, didn't it? First game of the season against Hull. Just want to quickly say the Wolves are circling a little bit. I've got clubs after Bayliss, Jones, and my centre-back Bauer. So I'll put high prices on Bayliss and Jones to try and deter clubs from signing them or even having an interest in them. So whereas you were, all the players that came in are still here, and all the players that were already here are still here. And now we're going to make our way over to Yorkshire, first game of the season, against Hull. We'll see you there. Well, welcome to Hull for the first game of the season. A season that we hope will be very successful. Team for today. Pairs in goal, back four of Pring, Earl, Bauer and Manzano. Trying to keep a little bit of stability. Don't want to bring all the new players in at once. We've got Whiteman, deep line playmaker. Bayliss and Mabea in the middle. Diallo, new player as the inverted winger on the left hand side, with Brown and 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬 up front. Well, Hull are, the media prediction for Hull is about 17th, I think. So they're not rated any higher than us. In fact, a little bit worse than us. So I know we're away from home, but we should be capable of getting a result here. So Diallo's picked up an injury early doors, brought 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 on. He is on a fitness test, but let's see how he does on that other side. Quite an uneventful first half, I think we can say. We'll put the ball in the back of the net now, lads. Well, we have had slightly the better of the game. There's not a lot in it, having said that, but we have had slightly the better of the game. Oh, that's a nice finish, but the linesman's got his flag up. Yeah, miles off. This is a little bit like watching the last game of last season. Bit lacklustre, not a lot happening. And we've gone 1-0 down. Nice ball out to Brown. In the box. Vilch is going to pick that up. Oh, that's nice. Oh, what a lovely goal. So well worked. That was slick football, that. I think we've woken up. Second 75 minutes. Vilches. Manzano. Vilches makes a lovely run. Brown heads it in the back, 1-1. Lovely bit of football, that. Oh, Lighton's got his flag up. Disallowed. They made a couple of subs. I bought Perez on at left wing back. And it's making a good run as we speak. Ooh, he's got a penalty for us. Who's taking the penalty? Brown? Brown's taking the penalty. And he scores it. 2-1. 2-1. Important goal, that. First game of the season. First win. Nice. We didn't play well, did we? We didn't play well, really, but we got the 3 points, which is the most important thing. No point in looking at the league table. And Diallo is out for 3 to 4 weeks. Great stuff. Well, it's always nice to start off with a win. That's just what we've done. Wasn't the greatest of performances, if I'm honest, but we do have quite a few new players in the team, so getting them to bed in. Perez came on and made an impact straight away. That ball down the left-hand side, he ran in the penalty area, got us a penalty, and basically got us the win. I mean, Brown had to put the penalty away, but, you know, Perez was a real instigator in winning that game for us. So he looks like he's going to be a good signing, hopefully. Anyway, that's it for today. Stay tuned. We'll be back with you very, very soon. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. If it's the kind of thing that you'd like to see more of, please subscribe to my channel, give me a like, and we'll see you next time for more from me, the Gobby Gaffer.